Hello everyone and welcome to a truly remarkable game from the, Blitz section of the FIDE World Championship, FIDE World Team Championship. It's Daniil Dubov versus Grandmaster from Kazakhstan, 24-year-old Denis Makhnev. And, okay, it's an older photo of him. I couldn't find a newer one. This one is like from 2018. Unfortunately, like I said, I couldn't find a newer one. But I also used an old photo of Daniil, this photo from 2021. There are newer photos, but I usually don't update it unless I consider the new one to be an improvement on the old one, as you guys can be very sensitive about that. Sometimes I will keep Magnus having the same photo for a year or even over a year, as I just don't like the newer photo, even though there are thousands of photos of him, just to get that out of the way. But this game, it's once again a true attacking masterclass, as you would expect, as one of the players is Daniil Dubov. So let's just check it out. I mean, you will love it. Daniil with white opens with pawn to d4, and this is now Blitz. Time control is 3 minutes plus 2 seconds increment. Knight to f6, we have knight to f3, pawn to e6, and pawn to c4. We have pawn to d5, and we transpose into a standard queen's gambit decline. We have pawn to g3, Daniil opts for the Catalan opening. We have bishop to e7, and bishop to g2. We have castles by both players, and now, I think this is very interesting because d captures on c4, c6, and knight b to d7 are the 3 top moves here. But here we have pawn to a5, and this is an extremely rare move, but it has been played on more than one occasion. I've found 4 games in the database where Magnus Carlsen himself played it. And as Daniil is, often working as Magnus's second, even for a World Chess Championship match, chances are Magnus, was introduced to this by even Daniil. Because if there's an attacking line, if there's something that Magnus should know, where there's a lot of attacking, I imagine that's Daniil's job on the team. And that could mean that a5 is not perhaps the best way to surprise Daniil. But we're also going to be mindful of the clock times just to see how a5 is surprising to Daniil. So Daniil goes knight to c3. Okay, played instantly. We have pawn to c6 and now knight to e5, as you would in pretty much any Catalan. Knight f to d7, offering a trade of knights, and now bishop to f4. You can see Daniil still over 3 minutes on the clock. We have knight captures on e5 and d captures on e5. We have knight to a6, and now there is a game where the position has been reached, and queen to c2 is the move queen to d2 is the move that was played here. But Daniil plays queen to c2, and this looks rather odd, as it invites knight to b4, which is immediately played in the game. What's interesting is that if you don't play this queen to c2 move, let's say you play queen to c1 or queen to d2, it doesn't really matter. Then knight to c5, and all of a sudden there are problems, because Daniil will put his queen on c1 only with the loss of a tempo. But now you don't have b4, and you cannot advance the e pawn, as knight to d3 will come with an attack on the bishop and on the queen. So Daniil first plays queen to c2, and only after knight to b4 now he plays queen to c1, and now it's much different. We have d captures on c4 and knight to e4. An excellent square for the knight, having access to d6 and f6, as one of the players is Daniil Dubov. We have knight to d5 attacking the bishop, and bishop to g5, offering a trade of bishops. We have bishop captures, knight captures, and now pawn to c3. You could even play a solid pawn to b5 and just claim that you're up material, which is not odd. When you're white in a Catalan, you will also often be down in material in the opening phase of the game. But okay, pawn to c3, and now pawn to h4. Daniil just goes for the attack, and also shows that now if captures, the knight will be nicely defended. Pawn to h6, we have knight back to e4, c captures on b2, queen captures, and pawn to a4. We have pawn to a3, stopping pawn to a3 by black, and queen to a5, getting the queen into the game, also preparing some nice moves like rook a6, rook to b6 to go after the white queen. Rook a to c1, also stopping black from using the c3 square if the knight ever moves from e4, and rook to a6, continuing to go after the white queen. Now rook c5, attacking the queen on a5, and rook b6, attacking the queen on b2. So Daniil goes back, queen to c1, black queen still hanging, and queen to a6. And here we have knight to f6 with check. And the situation on the clock is actually fairly similar. 41 seconds Daniil, 36 seconds Denis. And can you capture the knight? Should you capture the knight, and what with? Do you capture with the pawn or with the knight? In the game, knight captures an f6 was played, but I absolutely have to show you g captures an f6 because it's hard. I mean, it's impossible. Daniil calculated this. I mean, this is some actual tal-like omnipresence on the board where you just know the line without calculating it. Look at this. E captures an f6, knight captures an f6, and queen captures an h6. Okay, not a problem. You have to stop rook to g5, knight to d5, and now queen to g5 check. King h8, and bishop to e4. So, of course, you are threatening queen to h6 check, followed by queen to h7 checkmate, f5, and I'm only showing you a variation where black is playing only moves not to lose, or seemingly not to lose, because this is winning for white. Bishop to d3, forcing the black queen to move, and after queen to a7, now the winning move, rook to c4. So this was a series of only moves for white that win the game, and a series of only moves for black that survive up until this point. And now there's no defense against a move that you might see or not, rook to g4. Whatever you play doesn't really matter. Queen to b8, you want to maybe get your queen somehow in the game. Rook to g4, threatening checkmate, and you cannot capture because then again bishop covers the h7 square. So you will play something like queen to c7, stop queen g7 checkmate, but now queen h6 check, queen to h7, you will pick up the rook, and once the queen blocks, of course, queen captures, and g8 will be checkmate. So you cannot capture with the g pawn. So in the game, Denis captures with the knight on f6, e captures on f6, and now queen captures on e2. The game is still possible to defend, but you have to play rook to b5. Here, queen captures on e2 was played, and now feel free to pause the video and try to find this brilliant idea from Dubov while I give you a couple of seconds. For those of you who were able to do it, congratulations, as you too must be a true master of the mystic arts. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is rook to g5. Of course, the first move that comes to mind, but what is essential is the second move of the line. Now, the rook cannot be captured. Everyone knows that. If the pawn captures rook, queen captures on g5, you threaten mate, and after g6, queen h6, and there's no stopping queen to g7 checkmate. So, of course, Denis will not capture the rook. Denis played pawn to g6, and now comes the move you had to see in order to play rook to g5, and that is rook to b5. And this is the only move. You free up this diagonal for the queen to capture the pawn on h6, and you don't have time to defend it. If you defend it with king to h7, then just rook captures on b6, and you're just up a full rook, of course, completely winning. But what's interesting is that rook on b5 doesn't just threaten the rook, but it also in some lines stops queen to b2. Because imagine if queen to b2 happens, the rook defends the queen, you capture on h6, all of a sudden the queen captures on f6, and there's no checkmate on g7. So that's the reason why only rook g5, rook to b5, and now there is no defense. Rook captures on b5 was played, now queen captures on h6, and he was in this position on move 27 then that Denis Makhnev resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Queen g7 is an unstoppable threat, and you just resign here. You could play some silly moves like queen captures on f2 or queen captures on f1, but that goes without saying, I imagine. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely one for the books, one to show your friends in the bar and the library, impress them, you know, improve their day, and you will always be the life of the party. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. A nice game to start off the FIDE World Blitz Championship. I would like to thank the Animated Chemist, Roger Stone, Robert Aratun, Karl-Heinz Haas, and Martin Georg Paparik for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of this wonderful event until it finishes. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.